Welcome back to Mosaic. Today my guest is Monica Williams. Monica is the Director of Catholic Cemeteries for the Archdiocese of San Francisco, overseeing 8 cemeteries. She's a native San Franciscan. She attended St. Cecilia's and St. Rose Academy before receiving her bachelor's degree at the Catholic University of America. Monica began working in the field of funeral and cemetery services in 1989. She is licensed as a funeral director and cemetery manager. She currently holds the position of Secretary-Treasurer of the Catholic Cemeteries of the West and represents the Archdiocese in the Catholic Cemetery Conference. A parishioner of St. Gabriel's, Monica serves on the Parish Finance Council and facilitated the Parish Grief Support Group there for several years. Welcome, Monica.
Thank you, Angela.
It is so nice to have you. You know, we've been talking so much about the Year of Mercy on these different episodes of Mosaic, and we've been sharing with our viewers about, what it means that Pope Francis declared this Year of Mercy. We've talked with them about different ways they can engage the Year of Mercy by cultivating a spirituality of mercy, as well as different ways to love our neighbor around the world. And today we really wanted to focus on 2 works of mercy that are often not talked about, but very much are a part of that loving of our neighbor that we're commanded to do in the gospel. And the mourning of the dead and the burying of the dead. And I was hoping you could talk to us a little bit about that. But first, before we dig into what that all means, I wanted to hear a little bit more about what you do specifically. I think you do this wonderful, important ministry in our church that a lot of people don't even know about. And I'm wondering if you can share with our viewers a little bit about what it is you do and some of the details of your work.
Well, you used the key word there, Angela, ministry, because what we do, whether working at a Catholic cemetery or a non-Catholic cemetery, is ministry. When you are taking care of people at a very tender, very difficult time in their lives, extending to them some compassion and support, that is an important thing to do, whether you work for the church. You do that in your daily life, in any job, but we have a very special opportunity to take care of people at a difficult time in their lives.
Mm-hmm. And so your position in particular, you oversee, when someone, let's just kind of walk step by step, when someone has a death in their family, they come to your place of work, and then what happens from there?
We have a wonderful staff of counselors who take that call from the family and meet with them, and perhaps they're in a situation where they need to select a place for their loved one to be buried. Perhaps they are using an existing family plot. We walk through those choices that they have to make and talk about what the service will be like on the day that they're with us. And then, of course, our ground staff, who's responsible for opening the grave or the crypt on that day, for maintaining the grounds, to make sure that we have a place that offers a peaceful space for reflection and prayer for people who come to visit. So all of those pieces form really what we do every day.
Wonderful. And I know you've been doing this work for quite some time. How did you personally get involved in it? What was the vocation journey there, and how did you feel God calling you and respond?
Well, as quite often happens when God calls, he starts whispering and nudging a little bit, and that's what happened. I took a summer job when I was in college, a part-time job that was intended to be just that, a part-time summer job, and that was at Holy Cross Cemetery. And along the way, I fell in love with what we do there, which is to take care of people at that difficult time. The history of a place like a cemetery is also just fascinating to me. All of those stories that are collected there. And so from there I went on to work as a funeral director and consultant, and I've been very blessed to find that vocation in this ministry.
Wow. And for anybody else who might feel particularly called to this type of ministry, do you have any tips or ideas for them? Any suggestions?
One of the things that I talk about a lot with people who are interested in a career in funeral or cemetery service is that it's very important to have a balance. So you always want to be very present, emotionally present. and supportive to the family that you're helping. You want to make sure that that part of humanity is real, that you're touched by their story. But you cannot be so overwhelmed by their grief and their story that you can't continue to care for the next family that you take care of and everyone after that. So there's a great balance that you have to craft in this work. And it is assisted monumentally by a gift of faith that gives us that sense that this is not the final goodbye, that this is simply the end of this part of the story, and that we will see each other again. And that really helps to balance out that grief and that sadness that accompanies the loss.
Very beautiful. That definitely, that this chapter that we're talking about is not the end, but just the beginning. And as Jesus died and then rose from the dead, this is our hope. That is our hope, and directing people towards that a lot. Wonderful. Thank you so much. We're going to come back after this small break to talk more with Monica about the different works of mercy and how you can engage in those works of mercy throughout not only this year of mercy, but your whole life. Join us when we come back. Thank you.